How can we bring awareness to our murdered, missing Indigenous women? We all have a mother, and we all have sisters, aunties, and daughters. Imagine seeing her and making plans to see each other the next day, only to never hear from her again. Imagine her going missing or finding her murdered with no suspects in mind. Imagine being a mother and this is your daughter, or this is your sister. My name is Rhiannon Black Dog Bear, and I am going to talk to you about our murdered, missing Indigenous women, our stolen sisters. I'm also going to talk to you about the underexposure they receive when one of our sisters go missing. It's almost like missing women are a colorblind pandemic. I question, why do our thousands of stolen sisters get virtually no exposure as opposed to other classes of women who go missing and get national attention for weeks or months and sometimes even years? Why isn't justice being served for our national problem in Indian country? In 2021, a Caucasian woman by the name of Gabrielle Petitto went missing on September 10th and and during her 11-day search, they had found and identified 3 missing people's bodies. When they discovered Petitto's boyfriend, Brian Laundrie, had killed her, and when they went to search for him, and after him running from law enforcement for almost 2 months of missing, they find Brian Laundrie. But during that time, they find 6 more individuals, which brought the total of 9 missing persons during the 2-month search for just 2 individuals. Why were these 2 individuals searched for by various law enforcement agencies and many resources used, those long hours spent when murdered missing Indigenous women get no exposure like the Petitto case did? In an article written by Devon Haney of the U.S. News and World Report, the Petitto's case was a huge international story, says Sharon Estoyer, founder of the Native American Community Board of the Yankton Sioux Reservation in South Dakota. Well, women of color go missing every day. You never hear of it on the news. All life matters. Her life mattered, but our lives matter too. The need for awareness. Not only is MMIW affecting tribal communities in the United States, it afflicts Canadian reserves as well, especially on Highway 16, a road between Prince George and Prince Rupert, British Columbia, Canada, which has become infamously known as the Highway of Tears, a place where many of our First Nation sisters have been murdered or missing since the 1970s. According to Brenda Wilson, in an article, Highway of Tears, Preventing Violence Against Women, from 1989 to 2006, 9 women were murdered or missing along the 724-kilometer length of Highway 16. All but 1 were Indigenous women victims. The satisfaction for awareness. If the government gave more funding to the MMIW cause and more resources, maybe we can impact the numbers and also international awareness. If our tribal leaders worked side by side with outer agencies that gave more manpower to look for our stolen sisters, then maybe some could make it home alive instead of a coffin. In Canada, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has addressed the issue and made promises to call to action of minimal awareness, but for the country of Canada, that is the start. In the United States, President Biden made a proclamation to the MLIW movement. In a speech, he was quoted, "My administration has made a priority of helping to solve the issues surrounding Native Americans who go missing. and those who are murdered across the United States, including high rates of Native American women and girls, including transgender women and girls. We recognize there is a level of mistrust in the United States government in many Native communities, stemming from a long history of broken promises, oppression, and trauma. That is why we are pursuing ways to build trust in our government and the systems designed to provide support to families in need in Proclamation 1022. My visualization is if local law enforcement created units specifically designed to the MLIW cause and gave more funds and more manpower for this unit and hired devoted people, then maybe the numbers would go down until there is no need for the so-called unit. Then maybe more of our daughters and our sisters would make it home alive. The victims that were found could bring awareness and help law enforcement bring more stolen sisters home and create a plan for preventative measure to ensure no more sisters go missing or are murdered, and many voices that never made it home got answers. Then in Indian country, the MMIW women would no longer be an unspoken pandemic. My call to action is in an article about the Proclamation 1022, President Biden addressing the need for more awareness of the murdered and missing Indigenous women issue. He officially designated May 5th as Murdered Missing Indigenous Persons Awareness Day. In the same article, he's quoted, "I call on all Americans and ask all levels of government to support tribal governments and tribal communities' efforts to increase awareness of the issue of missing and murdered American Indians and Alaskan Natives through appropriate programs and activities. For the U.S., that is also a start. It shows some government officials have acknowledged the need for awareness and are moving to make a difference. It is our responsibility as a nation to help with the movement and bring our sisters to justice." And here are some statistics for just Montana, South Dakota, Nebraska, and North Dakota. In conclusion, Native American women are at risk, and we will continue to be unless awareness about the MMIW is taken seriously, and we as individuals speak up and speak out on the issue and make a stand. We need to push our government for more action rather than just naming a day for it. People have already started by protesting and marching by the hundreds, sometimes thousands, for the cause. On May 5th, please join our nation and wear red. Let the unheard voices receive a modicum of justice. Thank you for listening.